So, as y'all know, when the announcement dropped, I was just as surprised as all of you. I honestly wish I could have met you all one last time. And I cried when I found that I couldn't.
It's more about the decisions that the company takes that I just cannot agree with.
The reason for my graduation is disagreement with management.
The lack of support that we get from this company is insane. That's what I've been dealing with this whole entire year, these past 2.5 years.
I don't regret my decision to leave, but I am upset that I was put in a position where I had to make this decision in the first place.
It's so manipulative, it's so predatory, and the things that these agencies get away with.
From doxing talent to silently retiring them under questionable pretenses.
I hate to be the bringer of bad news, but another VTuber agency is about to disappear into a puff of smoke.
All of the talents have banded together and said enough is enough.
No one deserves to be employed and threatened simply for wanting a fair, non-hostile work environment where they're supported as content creators.
We got a lot to talk about regarding the absolute state of VTuber agencies, so strap yourselves in.
Man, I'm finna whip this hoe.
Agency, an organization established to provide a particular service and promote another company, group, or individual for business operations. It's the bridge that helps those struggling find better opportunities and further their goals in their target industries. Employment agencies that help bridge jobs, marketing agencies that help through advertising and social media, and talent agencies that represent performance and entertainment. TLDR, they help you with the work allegations.
Go get a job!
There are even orgs and agencies that support or help out content creators. The level of how much you need an org or agency to succeed varies for each field and industry, but there's one content creator medium that was dominated by agencies and orgs for years. VTubers, online entertainers who use virtual avatars for content instead of one's usual face, is a unique medium of content creation. But for many inspired individuals, rather than doing everything themselves from ground zero, they desire to join an org and become an agency VTuber like, say, Gargura or Box Akuma. For countless years, this was the #1 coveted path for VTubing. Receiving the boost in exposure while receiving management support would give them a far better chance at a VTuber career than doing everything solo. But recently, times have changed. The VTuber bubbles have burst and agencies have far different reputations than before. Corporate controversies, PR disasters, big-time VTubers leaving their agencies, and entire company shutdowns. What is happening to VTuber agencies, and why do they seem to be in a deteriorating state? You know me, I feel like yapping again.
Oh shit.
Here we go again.
Hey, yo, Taledo, that fallen angel kicked out of heaven. Get some snacks, get some water, get some venture capital, and let's get on to video.
I know you like my style. Nasty, gritty, looking pretty while I crack a smile.
Before that, instead of just the snacks and water, how about we switch it up with a nice meal? That's why I'm thankful for the sponsor of this video, Factor 75. Factor is a meal service that delivers fresh, dietitian-approved, ready-made meals right to your doorstep, making sure to pack it delicious. Every week, you can choose from 35 meal options that fit your health needs, schedule, diet, and goals. And after delivery, you'll have restaurant-quality food available at your home that only needs 2 minutes to heat up, taking the stress out of meal planning and setting you up for success. That's what I love most about Factor, its convenience. See, as of right now, I'm doing college, content creation, other side stuff. TLDR, I'm working a lot and it's hard to make time for eating well. But with Factor, my schedule is supported. No prep work, no dishes, no overpriced takeout. A gourmet chef does the crafting.
He's cooking.
So I can do me. Cheaper, easier, and stress-free, leaving me more time to focus on these things. So, let's talk about it. Get 50% off and free shipping on your first Factor box using my link with 20% off your next month of orders. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code with your phone. And thanks once again to Factor 75 for sponsoring this video. So how did VTuber agencies come to be? Take us back like a decade. During this time, anime, idols, and YouTubing had a lot of appeals in them. These fields had unique cultures, dedicated fans, a lot of engagement, and lovable personalities that could spark a potential untapped market. For example, years earlier came the birth of Hatsune Miku, a Vocaloid soundbag marketed as a cute and quirky anime girl and Japanese idol. But what if you made a similar character for YouTube, a platform with billions of daily views? That's when in December 2016, tech company Activate debuted Kazuna Ai, the 3D anime girl YouTuber. Most notably performed by voice actress Nozomi Kasuga, the girl would post pre-recorded scripted videos, play video games, and coin her medium as a virtual YouTuber. She grew massively in popularity, receiving tons of recognition and support and reaching 1 million subscribers just 1 year after her debut, and a voice actor role in an anime that you should never watch.
That shit is fucking trash, dog. Get the fuck.
Due to Kizuna Ai's success, the interest in VTubing skyrocketed. And what's better in business than to strike an untapped market? Corps produced their own virtual characters and recruited people to form these VTubers online. Idol agencies would debut idol groups as virtual idols. And hell, 3 members of the 4 Heavenly Kings, the name given to the 4 biggest VTubers behind Kizuna Ai, were a part of Corps or agencies. But 2 agencies would set themselves as the kings of VTubing: Hololive and Nijisanji. Eventually, agencies expanded outside Japan, they expanded into the West, and the golden age of VTubing began in 2020. Countless people became VTubers on their own or established themselves as top VTubers, and more VTuber agencies began to spawn. Bishojo was like, hey, look at me. I'll recruit 7 of the biggest Twitch VTubers into our talent-first agency. Phase Connect was like, look at me. I'll recruit the best girls from a psych ward into our fun agency. Brave Group was like, look at me. I'll recruit from everywhere.
You can't escape! You can't escape!
Cyberlife, Prison Project, EN Project, VNU, Walkthrough, Production Kawaii, Idol Corp, you name it. While several agencies would fall, others would rise and set themselves apart in the market. That left many people with an important debate. Should you join a VTuber agency? Enter Person A. Person A is trying hard to be a VTuber and is debating between aiming for an agency or remaining independent. Here's what she learns between the two. Corpo or agency VTubers are provided a platform for exposure, resources, marketing, genmates, opportunities, and overall support in their VTubing career in exchange for a revenue share of merch, memberships, and super chat. However, the company owns the rights to your brand and IP, and there may be several restrictions and freedom due to rules, contracts, and NDAs. Independent VTubers have complete control over their IP, activities, and community. They also have no corporate allegiance to appease, nor cuts of revenue to give away. But that means they're effectively on their own. There is no support resources or exposure handed to you, you cover all of the expenses, and you gotta grow and manage your brand from ground zero or quit trying. So here are the main pros and cons of being either corporate or independent. Surely indie looks way better, right?
Fuck no, baby!
Because I can sing, yell, or play video games decently well, all of this stuff will be available to me? If Person A is even thinking of going corpo, there's a good chance they're having issues growing themselves past being a small name or managing themselves as an indie. And our agencies are meant to be made around brand, management, and recognition. If you are really looking for a career in streaming and performing and are willing to sacrifice anything for it, Person A is 9 times out of 10 fiending for an agency, no matter how big or small it is. These aspiring VTubers are willing to take restrictions, be on schedule, give a cut of revenue if it means having a feasible chance of actually making a presence in this industry. So this made VTuber agency spots hella desired and therefore hella competitive. Small agencies would have multiple hundreds or even thousands of applications to select from while only accepting around 5 VTubers for that phase's wave. And for big agencies like hololive, in March 2021, Subaru revealed that the chances of getting into hololive based on auditions was 1 in 1,200. Damn! With 5 spots, that's about 6,000 applications. This is 2021, and nowadays you can apply to hololive at any time. Imagine how hard it is now. But say you made it into an agency. You met your new co-workers and managers, you debuted, and now you have a platform to create content, meet people in the industry, make better money, and get your name out there. Don't expect everything to be smooth sailing. Content creation ain't just playing games and chatting a couple times a week. It's sometimes called a 24/7 job. Now imagine that focus get even more strenuous in a corporate setting.
A lot of people don't know how much work there is behind the scenes. It might be 2, 3, 4, even 5, maybe 10 times the amount of on-screen work that you're doing, and it can really wear you out.
Hololive VTubers, for instance. At the absolute busiest, a schedule can include active communication, planning for events and collabs, rehearsals, meetings, preparing and getting perms for games, traveling for work, recording for work, and then the streams. So best of luck! Say a VTuber makes about 100,000 that year off of ad revenue, memberships, and super chats. That sounds great, right? Well, YouTube will take 30% of that, leaving you with 70,000. Then the corporation will take about 50% of the cut.
Where's my money, bitch?
Although it does vary per agency. But in this case, the cut leaves you with just 35,000. That corporate cut hits. And if you think you're making the same big time money as those at the top, you want to stream anything or play any games you want? You're gonna need perms for everything, or you're getting in trouble. Differences can create conflict. This is especially bad for Japanese VTuber agencies. Also, copyright law in Japan is hell, and corporates would rather not risk losing their entire company. Again. Can you keep a secret well? Avoid speaking out too much, ensure nothing confidential or internal reaches the public, and you remain professional. If not,
Get the f out of here!
the VTuber industry depends on parasocial relationships. VTuber agencies especially, as that dedicated fan base of gachikois brings up super chats, donations, and merch sales for the company. As a Corpo VTuber, you have to leverage or take advantage of people being potentially obsessed with you, and that culture can be a bit suffocating. Once you go Corpo, be prepared to have certain people find your past life account and dig into all of those past videos, tweets, and moments. Oh, you have that one clip that could piss people off? For example, the Mano Aloe situation. Her comments on her past life created a huge wave of harassment, constant calls and messages to her household, and her eventual graduation. Unfortunately, there are people out there that invade VTuber agencies with bad behaviors, and you as a talent could be harmed as a result, becoming a victim of stalking and harassment from someone internal, somebody outside the company committing harm to those inside. Or for a co-worker, your company accidentally hired a
Come on, gather round, everyone. The court of public opinion is now in session.
You'll have more fans and you'll have more haters. You can even find it difficult to grow a community just because people don't fuck with you. So try not to get on anyone's bad side or it'll get really bad. Brand is probably the most important asset to a company, especially for the entertainment industry, and many companies are risk averse. Did you break certain rules, allegedly endanger the company or talents? Does the company perceive you as a brand risk and not want to work with you? If so, you can be terminated. It don't got the good vibes of the graduation.
They must have cut me.
You're kicked out. An effective end to your corpo career and a termination notice that could portray you in the worst light. And that affects both the agency and VTuber's reputation forever. But I feel like focusing on the negatives or could be negatives is kind of unfair. By this, I'm kind of framing VTuber agencies as the worst thing in the world.
One of Satan's greatest soldiers.
When realistically, no job is perfect. It's called a job for a reason. But for many, that agency was what they needed to move forward.
知ってる？とても悲しい話やけど、ワーホリビザなんだけど、人生に一度しか手に入らないビザであって、で何も活動できずに日本にしばらくおったの。なんかやりたいことが全然できなくて、人生に一度しか手に入らない、すごい楽で自由なビザ。結構憂鬱になってしまって、もうずっとベッドで泣いて、そして寝て、そして待って、そして何もしないで壁を見つめて、何のために来たんだって悩んで、ここにいる意味はなんだろう、すごい無駄にしたなってなって、で、ホロライブイングリッシュのオーディションがあって、
There's a reason that these VTuber agencies were so desired. Being handpicked or scouted out of thousands of potential VTubers into fitting a big role, finding that purpose you never knew attainable. Because there's a question that would get asked a lot. Why did you join an agency?
When I came to Japan, I didn't plan on joining hololive, but by the time I came to Japan, I was already watching hololive. I was watching Fubuki-senpai and Pekora-senpai a little bit later. I never thought of myself doing that. I don't know why, but once I saw that the auditions were open, I was like, wait a second. Suddenly it made sense. I suddenly realized that it's actually like quite perfect for me, and I suddenly knew I had to do it. I had to join hololive. I knew it. It had to work. I just had to make it work.
For many VTubers, their lives did or could get better. They could grasp goals or mindsets that seemed unattainable, and that's why they worked so hard for a rare opportunity.
I was deeply unhappy with my life. You know, I had been kicked out of heaven, honey. I was alone on earth. And then when I saw the audition, I told myself, I am putting in everything I have. I am putting everything I have into this. And if ever I have this, I am gonna work the hardest I've ever worked. I am gonna do the more I've ever done. And I am no longer gonna feel lonely.
People have so many reasons why they joined an agency.
What really made us want to be a part of the hololive family was just all our talented senpai from all over the world with so many different experiences, talents, and personalities.
Seeing their strengths, growth, them working hard all together for their dreams.
If you didn't have an Oshi, why did you join nijisanji? I would watch a lot of content, group content of Niji Ian livers doing stuff together. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. I liked I like the feel of like having a group, you know? It was nice.
Well, Moyu thinks FaZe has plenty of like-minded individuals. There's plenty of people that Moyu could get along with and FaZe connect more. It's full of people that most likely wouldn't turn Moyu into an outcast, so yeah.
The number one reason that I like about corporations is that there's just friends everywhere.
I remember saying you weren't interested in joining an org, unless I'm incorrect. Did you mention what changed your mind? New information changed my mind. I thought that joining something would be a lot more restrictive or just different than what it actually is. And then I talked to them about it and realized that I didn't have to do anything I didn't want to do. And I went, oh, okay. Then what's the downside, you know?
And management support was always lovely. Tech, merch, communications, it just took the load off of them so that they could focus on content. And some just really loved the agency from the beginning. But going Corpo was the way to make it in this industry for these people. An opportunity that could grow you with better chances than by yourself as an indie. Even for the small VTuber agencies, you may grow enough to do VTubing full time.
I quit my full-time job, and now I am a full-time streamer.
I have my associate's degree and I will be taking a break from my education to full-time pursue VTubing for the next year, maybe a little bit more.
Many were able to pay off old debts or reach a comfortable point in living that they didn't have before. They could become the true self that they desired and stand strong for the fans that give them the support. And whether they knew of it or not, it would become a dream come true.
I'm really grateful that I got a chance to join hololive. I'm really glad I came here and that I met so many amazing people. I wish I could say that I was a fan from long ago and my dream came true. It did come true, but in a different way, I guess.
Again, there are pros and cons to being in any type of VTuber agency position, but for years, this was why being agency outweighed being indie. But countless VTuber agencies ran into what we call corporate crisis. Corporate crisis. Any event that could threaten how a company operates or grows moving forward. Social media disaster, turnover, economic downturn, workplace ethics. It's the one situation as a company you never want to be in because there will always be some kind of loss. As of this upload, there have been countless disasters to VTuber agencies, from incompetence all the way to maliciousness. All in like this year or so, and many VTuber agencies have shut down. And as such, the state of VTuber agencies has gotten really bad. VReverie was an on-growing small agency that seemed to be setting itself in the mold, but a bad internal fiasco caused 7 of their 8 VTubers to graduate in 3 to 5 months. Some talents would even return to their past graduated accounts talking about, quote, the worst fucking months of my life. Although we don't have specifics, we can tell VReverie failed them multiple times. People turned their backs against the agency. The company failed at growing their Gen 3. Nova, their big-time talent, held out to buy her IP, and the company collapsed. Project F's reveal brought some conversation to them, but a poorly managed termination of Lorelei Locke created a lot of allegations around Project F's management and practices. Then in response to allegations, Project F aired out an entire document with Discord screenshots included.
Bro, what are you doing with your life, bro?
It kinda made them look worse. Every talent realized the contracts were shit, they went on hiatus, they all left the agency, luckily keeping their IP rights, and Project F shut down. Nijisanji in Japan is doing pretty fine, but Niji EN, it's fucking going through it.
McQueen is fading! McQueen is fading!
Look, there's a lot. A confusing and messy graduation, the story behind a lambasted termination, and a lot of graduations over months hurt its reputation for fans, mainly on the topic of mismanagement and working environment. And then the Solen incident happened, one of the worst disasters in all of VTubing history with many serious ramifications. It turned the entire industry and community against them. Their PR completely tanked, the branch lost a ton in profit margin, they've received countless antis, and past livers on many occasions have talked about their own experiences. A lot of clips painting a worse picture for Nijisanji, and now there are the Aster allegations. As of writing this script, there are other very serious ongoing investigations regarding alleged sexual harassment by a liver that I hope is handled. It's a disappointing situation overall. AkiaWare thought it best to hire a minor. The fuck? Put spotlight on her as a minor and initially hid this from her gen mates, resulting in several dropping out. But eventually, the talents came together against AkiaWare. A poor working environment, emotional abuse, and negligence, being threatened with lawsuits on multiple occasions into silence. The CEO inappropriately involving himself with the talents in girls talk, private voice calls, and Overwatch requests, taking advantage of the kid. Do you want to know who's the King Von of VTubing agencies?
Look, some people need to be gone, bro. He one of them.
Wachter. Even before shit hit the fan, they already ran the controversies for weird termination and suspensions of their talent, but they do something even worse. Dox their talents. On multiple occasions. Exposed for favoritism, slander, and horrible working conditions, deteriorating the mental health of their VTubers, and lost over 40 talents by 2024. But in February of that year, even more talents came out about Wachter's activities. A pressure and fear-based work environment, active legal threats, compulsion to express false opinions, prohibitions from taking prescribed psychiatric medication, horrific contracts, workplace sexual harassment.
She had taken out a loan with Wachter to continue with her activities. She had been told that if she did not have the money to pay it back, she could pay it back with sex with the staff.
And other illegal activities that they would take to court. They are without a doubt the shadiest VTuber agency of all time. And situations for corpos don't really get better. To leave a place that stretched itself thin with support and mismanagement, a V&U talent was allegedly requested compensation fees worth $450,000. Owasu, a Spanish-speaking agency, was exposed for a massively toxic work environment. And even Cover Corp has its own issues. They had an entire legal controversy with Japan's FTC due to failing to pay artists of contractors on revisions. Hololive had multiple announced departures at the back half of the year, some with reasons that put big question on Cover Corp's operations. All-Stars, the fucking stepchild. Even before the Altair clip of being ignored and given a lack of support, there's been a lot of concern from Holostars fans regarding the talents, and multiple departures have left talents and fans disappointed, but other agencies couldn't recover. Multiple VTuber agencies had to change operations, sell, or shut down, as running a VTuber agency was not working. Idol Corp, having dealt with messy departures, issues around merch, and failing to pay several artists, sold its company to Brave Group. Ian Project during its operation dealt with statements around favoritism and failing to complete contracts, later shutting down. Yume Plus shut down due to repeated CEO negligence. What is going on? Hold up, this agency hired a 9-year-old as a VTuber?
No.
Take a hard guess what the number for this is. Like 5? Maybe 10? 20.
What are we doing, bro?
So VTuber agencies have a worse look right now. In this year alone, we've had corporate controversies, PR disasters, big VTubers leaving their agency, and like 20 or so ceasing operation.
Damn, this is an unfortunate, unreliable series of events.
A lot of these VTubers either having to buy their IP or start from ground zero. If they're lucky, they get to keep their IP, but don't bank on it. All the work, connection, and brands getting strained or disappearing from a failing company. So why are they failing?
Certified side secret.
Here's why. Most VTuber agencies are startup companies that saw VTubers as an interesting market, joining in around the late 2010s in the East or early 2020s in the West. They're startups. And here's the thing about startup businesses. 90% of them fail. According to Statista, 10% fail within the first year, 20% within the first 2 years, 45% within the first 5 years, and 65% within the first 10 years. And the 10 to 20% that have good success rates in the long term are companies run by those with relevant qualifications and experiences in the market. That gets us to our second point. Way too many agencies are run by people with no experience in the entertainment industry, running media, or running a talent agency. They just try emulating whatever hololive or nijisanji did to grow and fail to, run a business properly on the inside. They end up having no clear vision, bare bones industry research, bad marketing strategy, no management experience, behind the scenes issues, and awful financial management. Speaking of finances, the number one reason most small businesses fail is due to cash flow problem. And surprise!
I'm gonna tell you right now, running a VTuber agency really expensive. It is not a cheap, we are not running like a corner shop here. There is a lot going on here.
Many viewers don't know that a lot of VTuber agencies don't make a profit. They operate in the red for years. Yet despite that, VTuber corps want to get bigger and bigger to grow their market pool, pumping out new gens, raising their expenses, and creating other problems such as failing to pay talents, other artists, and staff. Money is just an issue. It seems that after a certain point, VTuber agencies have 3 options. Sell to a parent company that can dump resources into them, go public, or there are both incompetent and malicious agencies. Both fail to have a proper work culture. Agencies may have management fail to help you with communications on art, sponsors, games, and developers, despite that being, the reason that you have an agency for. They fail to provide assistance and cultivate these people's identity, and it becomes an incompetent mess that the VTuber becomes stuck in, and stretching themselves thin is not sustainable for the company, the talents, or anyone involved.
They know exactly what to tell you to make you want to sign with them, and then you're stuck with this company that has no idea what they're doing. They are neglecting you and your needs. And then let's just say like they rush a new gen, okay? The first gen barely has any resources, and now you're spreading yourself even more thin times two. What in the world are you thinking?
Bad work environment, failed promises, manipulation, slander, threats, and fraud, exploiting and threatening talents with legal disputes to keep them in line, doxing them, and then some CEOs are just freaks with their VTubers, dating their employees, or even worse, involving minors in this. Once that shit gets out,
there's no way out of this one. You're done.
Trends are important in the market, and every product is under a product lifecycle. Introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. The trends for VTubing are still growing, right? The bubble has burst, and most companies are now in the last two phases of this cycle. And now they're jumping ship, lacking resources and not going past a certain point. I better get out of here while I still can! Actively declining in sales, profitability, and talent pool. I better get out of here while I still can! You don't give a fuck about VTubing and content creation, but can't get any more money out of this trend? I better get out of here, boys! Ultimately, if you can't cultivate your niche well in this maturing market, or you understand the audience culture and operations to a T, you might as well get out. There was always this level of fear that if you leave your agency, you wouldn't be able to survive on your own, since 9 times out of 10 you went from obscurity to fame through to the platform. But if you know for a fact that you have a support group, hired management resources, and a dedicated audience that supports you first and foremost, you might not need an agency. You can go indie and leave the corporate culture and restrictions, doing what you enjoy without being forgotten. Of course, this mainly applies to those from the big dogs, hololive and nijisanji. It's far harder for those from small agencies, and these departures will impact agency worth. Anyway, those are my thoughts from a sort of business perspective. I also think the changes in VTubing and streaming culture are very important, but let me know what you think in the comments below. The VTubing industry has changed. What once was a long-desired path has transformed into a wider perspective. So what does this mean for the future of VTuber agencies? Are they pointless? Is the future indie and you should never join a company? I wouldn't say it's that simple. There are agencies in good standing, others are starting to even rise in growth, and some, despite their issues, still work for people. Business is business. In this economy, I just need the bag. Entertainment industry is already rough enough as it is. But a lot are definitely not working. And a lot of VTuber agencies closing down, getting into controversy, or being exposed for bad practices doesn't help the image for it either. I think it's just important that people become more versatile and not put all their eggs in one basket. Watch for the red flags and know what your creation priorities are. Hell, I've even seen indie VTubers start their own VTuber groups, a network of friends that can create together and bring out each other's potential. But if anything, remember this. At the end of the day, no matter if you're corpo or indie, and no matter what type of dream or passion you hold, don't let anyone think you aren't deserving of value for the work that you put in, because you made you possible. Not some luck and not some company. It was you. But hey, Merry Christmas.
You gotta give him that
ho ho ho! Merry Christmas!
And if video doesn't come out next week, thank you for a wonderful 2024. Love y'all so much for making this dream possible. But it's been Taledo, that fallen angel kicked out of heaven.